Hello and welcome, friends, colleagues, language lovers, educators, and explorers of communication. I'm your host, Mike, and this is episode 136 of the Languages Pedagogy Podcast. Today, we're going to trace an unbroken line from the fireside stories of ancient civilizations to the digital whiteboards of today's classroom. This episode is titled Storytelling, Ancient Technique, Modern Classrooms. So, grab your favorite notebook, lean back, and let's embark on a journey that is as old as human speech itself, and just as relevant today as it was 10,000 years ago. So, let's get started.
Woo! Let's go!
And let's begin with something primal, something raw and real. Imagine, for a moment, a small community huddled around a crackling fire. The night is silent, save for the whisper of wind and the breath of embers. An elder stands, eyes glowing with memory and mystery. And then they begin. Long ago, in the time of the sky beast. In that moment, the world opens. Everyone leans in. Time bends. That, right there, is the first classroom. Before there were schools, whiteboards, or even writing, we had storytelling. It was our first medium of instruction. It taught us how to hunt, how to heal, how to live. It passed on values, ethics, warnings, and dreams. And its power hasn't faded. It's just evolved. Let's break down what storytelling actually does from a cognitive perspective. All right? Here I would like to hear all of you great experts, great teachers over there, psychologists, educational psychologists, neurotherapists, neuropsychologists, to help me out with this one. I've been actually reading a lot about it, so this is what I found out. Stories activate multiple parts of the brain. We all agree on that, I think. When we hear data, only the language processing centers are engaged. But when we hear a story, especially a vivid, emotional one, our sensory motor and emotional centers light up as well. We live the story, not just understand it. This means stories boost memory retention. Stories increase emotional engagement. Stories encourage empathy and connection. And stories stimulate imagination and encourage meaning making. Neurologically, stories create a web of mental association. They help students connect vocabulary to images, grammar to purpose, and language to life, right? And this isn't just theory. There's solid research behind this. Studies show that students retain 22 times more information when it is presented as a narrative compared to bullet points. From Homer to TED Talks. What makes storytelling timeless is its adaptability. In ancient Greece, Homer didn't write textbooks. He sang the Iliad and Odyssey. These epic poems were not just entertainment. They were education encoded in rhythm, repetition, and metaphor. Fast forward to today. TED Talks, podcasts, YouTube creators, or Crash Course. What do they all have in common? They're stories. They build suspense, present conflict, introduce characters, and lead us to resolution, even when they teach science or philosophy. And in the language classroom, storytelling isn't just nice to have. It's essential because language itself is a form of storytelling. Every sentence is a mini narrative. Every conversation is a co-author tale. So, let's talk about the modern classroom. Many teachers are overwhelmed with curricula, standards, assessments, so storytelling might feel like a luxury. But here's the truth. Storytelling is a strategy, not a supplement. In fact, here's how you can embed storytelling across the 4 core skills. Speaking. Have students create origin stories for vocabulary words. Encourage stories circles, for example, where learners continue each other's stories. Practice role-playing based on short tales. Listening. Use audio stories with varying accents and tones. Pair listening activities with anticipation questions. Have learners predict endings or alternative outcomes. Reading. Integrate graded readers that use narratives. Annotate the emotional beats in the text. Identify characters, motives, and connect them with modal verbs and conditionals. Writing. Scaffold writing through story arcs. Beginning, middle, conflict, resolution. Encourage reflective journaling. Tell the story of your day in English. Use storytelling prompts that blend creativity and target grammar structures. Techniques for the 21st century storyteller teacher. Let's get practical now. Here are some storytelling tools and structures that educators can implement right now. 1. The story spine. Created by improv actors. This simple template works wonders. Once upon a time, every day, until one day, because of that, until finally. Great for practicing sequencing, conjunctions, and past tense structures. 2. Digital storytelling. Use tools like Canva, Book Creator, Adobe Spark, Padlet, or Flip. All of these ones have their own advantages. So go for it. Make it visual, interactive, make videos, and make storytelling in a collaborative way. These tools bring language alive and add multimodal learning layers. 3. Personal narratives. Nothing builds community like sharing real stories. A unit on first can lead to first language, first friend, first time traveling. This invites vulnerability, authenticity, and deeper language production. 4. Story retelling. Retelling a known story in a different context, for example, Cinderella in modern Tokyo, challenges learners to adapt structure, vocabulary, and tone. Great for intermediate and advanced learners. 5. Silent story videos. Think Pixar shorts. No words, just visuals. Learners narrate what they see, infer emotions, predict outcomes, and use rich descriptive language. Storytelling as assessment. Yes, storytelling is also an assessment in disguise. Rather than a test, ask, tell me a story using the past continuous, 5 irregular verbs, and at least 3 connectors. You're assessing fluency, structure coherence, and creativity, all while the student is engaged. Rubrics can be built around narrative clarity, lexical variety, tense accuracy, emotional impact, and audience engagement. Now, you might be asking, does storytelling still matter in a world of AI? Instant translation and data-driven education? Let me put it in this way. AI can give you correct grammar. Google Translate can decode a sentence. But only storytelling can move a heart, change a mind, or shape an identity. Stories remind us of our shared humanity. They're how we learn to say, I love you in another language and mean it. They're how a shy learner in Brazil builds confidence to speak in English. They're how a refugee in Germany processes trauma through narrative. They're how a teacher in Seoul teaches French with magic, not monotony. And now, before we wrap up, I want to share a few short stories from fellow educators. A teacher in Kenya used animal fables to teach comparative adjectives. The students not only learn grammar, they also learn empathy. In Taiwan, a teacher asked her class to write origin myths for their families. Their stories brought generations together in a shared language. In Argentina, a school ran a language theater week where students wrote and performed stories in English and French. Attendance skyrocketed. Parents cried. No one forgot those moments. That's what storytelling does. Keep in your memory. Live it. Enjoy it. They will last forever there. Those are the experiences that you will never ever forget. Right? Storytelling is not an add-on. It is the foundation. Whether we're telling stories with our voices, our slides, our videos, or our body language, what we're really doing is creating meaning. We're giving our students not just words, but worlds. So I leave you with this challenge. What story will your students tell tomorrow? And what story will they remember from you 10 years from now? Because in the end, we don't just teach language. We teach life through language. Until next time, keep telling stories that matter. Keep igniting imaginations and keep teaching from the heart because that's where the best stories are born. Until next time, keep writing your classroom story one powerful word at a time.